Good morning, Mike the MC, bringing another self-care video. Today I'm going to talk about the topic of, is narcissism a mental disorder, and what we can do to help people that we know that may need some help, treatment, therapy with this, with regard to what we see in life. This is a great topic to discuss, bringing us a little more responsibility, but it helps us become more responsible caretakers for people that we watch. So let's dive into this topic. So continuing off from the book by Drew Keyes on Narcissists Exposed, her second topic question is narcissism a mental disorder? And she goes over the several clusters of A, B, and C, and I will share in my description the actual book with mental health disorders and what we as social workers use to help diagnose clients with disorders in general, the DSM-5, Diagnostic Manual, statistic manual. So I'll share that with you all. But the other thing is, from her book itself, she goes over narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, and antisocial personality disorder, and how these are ranging in severity across different people, circumstances, and why it's important to consider those in general. But I think with regard to the topic of helping people with disorders in general, I think if we see something in someone that may not be healthy, may not be a good thing that they're doing, and be like, oh, I notice you're kind of being alone. Mike, Brian, are you kind of just doing this just to be there on your own? Do you not want to talk with me? Do you want to just kind of be to yourself on the couch? Like, are you going out and being social with people? Now, I understand people like to have their space, or they don't want to be bothered. But then when we come across some, actions that our friends are doing that it's like, whoa, that doesn't seem right. What are you doing? I can recall a few people growing up in life at college where they would be so dramatic, change their personality. And it's like, oh my gosh, they went from sitting on the couch to all of a sudden just becoming so reactive, so engaged, to the point where it doesn't seem normal. And so my tip for you as a social worker, for anyone listening, is it normal or not normal? And how do you feel in your gut, with regard to disorders, especially narcissism, and if it's impeding your well-being in some way? And I think that's part of the key as well. If it's intruding on your space and other people's, your company that you invite over for the house, if it doesn't seem to be like that person is respecting other people's boundaries, and they're jumping into conversations, they're jumping into something to kind of take the show, to kind of be the center of attention. And I would argue going beyond breaking boundaries to kind of establishing theirs over you. Now, what I mean by that is, okay, they bring you into their conversation, they bring you into their topic to discuss. And yeah, people are good with conversation, of course, but when you recognize that you become possibly a target for that person, you become the topic, and people are starting to talk about you and criticize you. He or she brings up rumors about you, and you're like, oh my gosh, that is not right. That is not good. See, there you can draw the line and say, maybe something's not right with you. I don't know why you're bringing up these negative topics all of a sudden just to have a conversation. Do you not have anything positive, anything else to talk about besides just tearing people down? And I think as far as point number 2, with regard to putting their boundary over you, trying to take you in, that's something to look out for with regard to this being an actual disorder. When you recognize how they're talking with you and other people in social interactions. And possibly a third point I'll share with you with regard to the topic is, how do they, write to themselves? How do they reflect on their own, talk to themselves? You could see how people are just kind of sitting on their own, how they what they do on their spare time. Okay, so maybe people say, oh, are they always on their phone? Well, I think that could be normal. People like to check their emails, or okay, whatever. Everyone's got some situations happening in their life that they need to keep up with, okay? But the way they're sitting, the way they kind of hunch back, the way they kind of take up space. Now, some will say, oh, they're just being alpha. They want to take up space. They don't care. They just want to be good. All right. But then what about when they kind of take some of your items, your books, on the other tables, on the other chairs, and they start to kind of like use them for different purposes? Like, for example, putting their coffee cup on top of your book, putting their wallet, whatever, etc., all over your stuff as well. And you're like, oh, get that off of my book, get that off my laptop. See, that goes back to point number 2 of intruding space, but now it's intruding your items, intruding upon your other possessions. And I would argue, okay, with regard to this being a diagnostic disorder, I mean, when you're trying to establish someone's personality on another person, to me, that's part of that, because you're trying to, as a narcissist, put your identity on somebody else. You're putting your label kind of like on a door, like this, even like a picture of some kind, to be like, oh, this is my territory, this is my mark. If you cross and put your get your book back, you take my wallet off, you take my coffee cup off, all right, now you're declaring, quote unquote, a war with me. Personally, I won't say it out loud, but you are, because that's how I see it as a narcissist, taking my things off of your things now that you wanted to get your stuff back. And to me, that's something to keep out for with regard to if this person may need treatment or help with regard to narcissism, to work with these issues, whatever's happening behind the scenes. And so I would say, be patient, take your time. If you need to find resources, check your local areas, check the phone lines, internet, to find local resources to help you with people that you may know that need help with this. It's a very serious situation. But if it's intruding upon your space, ruining your relationship with your husband, wife, children, leading into possibly a divorce, okay, get some therapy, get some help. I mean, this is not something to be taken lightly. If it's going to keep going on for years and years and years to just total codependency and then finally breaking and everyone just kind of just falls apart, before you reach to that, have a conversation, talk with the other person, and then if they don't want that help, try to find ways for them to find peace in their life, to kind of break out or set your boundaries, so that way you allow them to kind of take the chance to find ways to help themselves. And so from me to you as a social worker, Mike the MC, just don't give up, be strong. This is life. Don't give up. There is help out there. Just don't give up. Seek it. And maybe, I hope, pray someone will help you and your family in these situations. So thank you everyone for staying tuned to this video. Thank you. Enjoy your Wednesday. Be safe. Have a good one.